Hello and welcome to another update video about Ethereum. So we start the new week with a lot of green candles. Currently no change to the count from the previous video. I'm still looking here at a possible leading expanding diagonal. It is certainly not an ideal structure. I mean, in a slightly different structure, which would actually be quite a bullish structure. We would have here a 1-2-1-2 setup, and then this would be a third wave. Basically, that would be quite bullish, but there is at the moment still a possibility that this is a leading expanding diagonal, especially as long as we are below this ascending trend line. So if we connect down here, the waves 1 and 3, you get this ascending trend line. So as long as we stay below that, this could count as a leading expanding diagonal, but they are quite rare, the patterns. So I'm stuck between either a 1-2-1-2 setup or a leading expanding diagonal. In the end, both would lead to a breakout to the upside. It is important though that in each of these scenarios, if the price comes down now, but there is currently no sign it does from here, the 1427 level here needs to hold, obviously. 1427, that's the 78.6 retracement. So in any wave 1 here to the upside, whatever shape or form it is, if we come down, the 78.6 retracement needs to hold. For now, the trend seems to have shifted to the upside. The question is now, and that's the next pivot here, we're now in the next pivot area or point, does the 78.6 retracement hold? So this is the next key resistance level, which is here at 1660, 1662. First of all, it's at the previous swing highs here, and then it's the Fibonacci retracement for a possible B wave, because in terms of wave counts, we can say that either we come down here in an A wave, we now move up in a B wave, and then come down in C. That's certainly a possibility. For, you know, from a tactical point of view, anybody who scaled into the support area could move up the stop loss, for example, to protect themselves from that scenario. Or if we break through 1662, even then at some point here shortly, maybe just slightly above that level or around that level, we should finish this first wave. I mean, it's getting very long now anyway. So the next pullback will tell us the truth. If it's a higher low and it holds the 1427 level, then we can get a third wave afterwards. Then we should get a fourth ideally and a fifth. So that's what is going to be relevant in the next few days. And if we get rejected here, which is certainly a possibility as well with such rapid and strong movements, and that would be again the 78.6 retracement, then we could come down in a C wave afterwards. That would be quite a strong move down, and I believe would also bring a lot of the altcoins, let's say, below their individual support areas. So for now, it's quite relevant to see, can we break above resistance? If we can, it would rather make me lean towards the white wave count here, 5 waves to the upside. So for now, yeah, the idea that we possibly made one more low or had bottomed already in this support area seems to be working out, as I highlighted before. So yeah, it's good to see that the market has shifted back to the upside, that we didn't drop much lower, because much further drops wouldn't have been good for many of the altcoins. For now, most of them are holding their support areas, their trade setups. As you know, this is a trade setup here where the price can turn around, a so-called trend reversal area. Quite a relevant one, because we've been waiting for these prices in this area now for a long time. A lot of people thought we couldn't get back to these prices anymore, and we're already panicking a little bit. They couldn't, they missed any good entries or whatever. Now which was pretty good, we came back into this support area, reversed as well at the 50% retracement, and it's always amazing to see how quickly sentiment shifts. I mean, this week the Elliott Waves helped us to understand that a possible bottom was near. Yeah, I highlighted in many videos that if you get the bearish news, and that's good for, you know, for knowing for the future as well, if anybody sort of missed those infos or hints, whatever, you know, if you see the bearish news, if you hear the bearish news, if you read the bearish news, and especially such a bearish week like this one, you can typically expect that a bottom is at least close. Now, it's never guaranteed, but it's all hints and it all adds up very nicely. If you might remember in one of the Bitcoin videos I think it was last week, I showed you a 5-wave pattern, an Elliott Wave 5-wave pattern, and I showed you how sentiment or which of these waves is characteristic for what kind of sentiment. And did highlight to you that a wave 2, especially if we pull back quite deeply into support, typically indicates that the bear returns from a sentiment point of view. Everybody gets negative, the news get very negative and very bearish. But in contrast to what many people believe, that is typically indicative of a bottom. Now, together with the bullish RSI structures that we saw in the last few days, bullish divergences, and the oversold reading on the daily RSI, which also is typically indicative of a bottom, we could add 1 and 1 together basically. And I highlighted that, might very well be that we do see a bit of a bounce this week or next week. Well, this week it now is, depending on which time zone you're in, and that's happening already. So that's why we do technical analysis, to understand the critical levels, especially the breakout above the descending trend line was helpful to know. Until we really broke above that level, above this descending trend line, another low was still preferred, but that's why we have those signals, the signal levels that I give you, and then we can quickly change to the new scenario. But as you might know, trading is different from analysis, so we don't necessarily want to wait for confirmation to make a trade. I like to trade those pullbacks. Don't wait for the last low. It sometimes never comes, because you can get an ABC structure where you expect basically one more low, or a WXY structure where you don't get one more low. You never really know in advance, you really know afterwards. And that's why the power of scaling in, especially in the crypto market, is so high, in my opinion. If you scale and tranche your orders into such support areas, you don't go all in, you don't go all out, you scale in, you scale out. At least that's the approach I like to use, because as you can see, if crypto turns, it's often too late to react, right? It's often, when you notice it, it's often too late. So yeah, it's getting interesting, certainly. I think next week will be very, very interesting. We've got CPI coming as well. So yeah, hopefully you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.